good morning, everybody. Hopefully everybody is having a great start to their Thursday. We have our Wordle Bible edition, day 4. From what I've heard, I got to see Nick's spot dominate on Monday, but from what I've heard is that everybody's been dominating so far through the week. So much so that Mr. Bunkowski has seen the talents of your Wordle game and might have to add a new co-curricular as well that he'll lead, but I'll let him talk more about that later. Today, our participants for our Wordle game are going to be some middle school faculty and students. So Amaya Washington and
First word.
Mrs.
Ready?
Plucker. We're ready. Go ahead.
First word, Amaya.
Crane.
Crane. Ooh.
All right.
Did you tell her to use that word? Let's talk. Let's have a talk, Mr. Eisman.
We've
What were you doing
had a
this
little
morning?
issue with Mr. Eisenman today.
Anyways,
He's
you
been
want to pick
doing
the
a
second
little
word? You want to
feeding, I
go?
think.
Middle school student, who's going second word? Second word?
What's that? Nears? Nears. All right, they said nears.
Nears. There it is. Oh, okay.
Hey, at least we got one letter.
Hey, at least we got Kelm.
What do you think it is? Learn.
Here we go. No, it's not, because the A. You think you got it? It doesn't work. Fears doesn't work. Learn doesn't work.
Rain. No. R-E-I-G-N.
Rain. R-E-I-G-N. Close.
All right, get better.
Oh. We're getting closer. Where, Alex Yoder, you got this yet? Nick Spot, you got this yet? Beekman's got it? Anybody else? You got it?
Renew.
She said renew. Renew.
As I realized I forgot the clicker over here. Nice work, middle school. Only took us a few extra times, but that's okay. Today, as Evie Little pointed out so clearly for us, our word of the day is renew. And when I thought about the word renew, there's a few things that came to my mind, but one of the things especially I wanted to see is what does Webster's dictionary have to say about the word renew? And the first definition I saw in there, it said extend for a further period the validity of a license, subscription, or contract. And when I first thought about that, I don't know, I kind of got a little bit just down. I was like negative thinking. I don't know about most of you here, but when you think about having to renew a license, it's not necessarily all what it's meant to be. There's some negatives that come with it. You think about the lines at the DMV, they aren't very kind to you. You sit there for a long time and you wait for your number to be called. Maybe it's you have to pass a test that goes with it, or maybe also included with it too, you have to be honest about your height, your weight, your color of your eyes and stuff like that. Now, I can still put that I'm 6 feet on my license, correct? Thanks, man, I appreciate that. Also, that comes along with it too, you might think of some costs. Costs rise all the time, but also at the same time too, there's lots of paperwork that you have to bring to it. But then I looked at the second definition and I started to think, okay, maybe renew isn't as bad as some of those negatives before. To make like new, restore to freshness, vigor, or perfection. For you in here, how many of you are seniors? Raise your hand for me, please. So 18, if I'm correct, you have to get your license taken again. Is that right? Anybody? 18 years old, is that right? Okay. And one of the good things about getting your license going back in, you get to take a new picture. You have to have that fresh picture that looks good. You look maybe a little bit older rather than that picture when you were 16 years old. Maybe for your parents, there's a bonus in there. Your driving record has been so great that now their premium goes down. Or maybe just for all of you, it's just a fresh start. I'm 18 now, I get a chance to kind of see. Our passage for today comes from Isaiah chapter 40, verses 30 to 31. Even youths grow tired and weary, and young men stumble and fall. But those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar on wings like eagles. They will run and not grow weary. They will walk and not be faint. Question for you. How many of you are feeling tired right now during this time of the year? It's okay to be honest. Go ahead and raise your hand. A lot of us are, right? And we start to think about maybe some of the things that are making us tired. Maybe it's sports, maybe it's co-curriculars, maybe it's academics, maybe it's those AP tests that you were just taking. Maybe for some of you, you see the school year finishing up. Maybe some of you see, hey, my friendships that I've developed over the course of time, they're going to go different ways here shortly. The end of the school year can bring lots of joys, but it can also make us feel a little bit apprehensive. Maybe as they're asked you this question, how are you feeling right now? Maybe some of you are starting to reflect on maybe just the past few days and weeks, and you're saying, things haven't been so great. I've made some mistakes with my friends. Maybe some things at home haven't been the best. Maybe some things here at school just haven't been going exactly how you planned. Now, when we look at this verse, I first started at verse 30 where it says, even youths grow tired and weary, and young men stumble and fall. And last night as I was preparing for this chapel, sure enough, there gets to be a nice big storm. And for me personally, and from what I've heard from everybody else, it sounds like everybody was okay. It doesn't sound like anybody had major damage. But one of the things that I got to experience for the first time last night was a new nervousness. We have a young son at home. He's about 19 months old, and we put him down to sleep about 8 o'clock. And I'm sitting there writing this chapel and getting ready for it, and I'm sitting, and all of a sudden my phone goes off. Tornado warning, Dakota County. My wife looks at me and says, oh, we got to go get him up. Take him downstairs. But when I start thinking about that passage a little bit more, sometimes we grow weary, right? Last night, it was a new experience for me that I hadn't felt before, and I started thinking, well, what happens? What happens if this storm comes to my house and something goes wrong? For those teachers that know where I live, I have these 3 ginormous trees in the backyard. And if any of you ever become tree cutters, you can come practice at my house for free. But I'm thinking in myself, what happens? What happens if this tree falls on my house? Something happens to my son, my wife, whatever it might be. I'm starting to get apprehensive about it and nervous. Even youths grow tired and weary, and young men stumble and fall. I did last night. I was anxious about something that I had absolutely no control over. Now, thankfully, as I said, nothing happened. And as I went back to writing it after the tornado warning had kind of gone past, it's funny, I opened back and I just read back a few verses before. And I was kind of almost laughed and said, thanks, Lord, you could have given me this 30 minutes before, and then I wouldn't have been so wearied. We take a look here at Isaiah 40:28. Do you not know? Have you not heard? The Lord is the everlasting God, the creator of the ends of the earth. He will not grow tired or weary, and his understanding no one can fathom. He gives strength to the weary and increases the power of the weak. Do you see here what God points out to you and to me? Verse 28 there, he says, the Lord. He's the Lord, the God of free and faithful grace. But then there's 4 other things there that he tells us. He's the creator. His power is unlimited. And he uses that power for your benefit. He also says in there, he doesn't become tired or weary. His power never grows tired. It's continuous care of the entire world. He is beyond the human ability to grasp and understand. God is great. God is holy. But then the last part there, God gives strength to the weary and the weak. He gives blessings to all of us because he loves us. You see, for you and for me, God is the one where our strength comes from. When we grow tired and weary, God doesn't. Sometimes we become confused, maybe even ignorant, God knows all things. Sometimes maybe we lose our energy. We're just not feeling it in a particular day, and we stumble and fall. But God promises to give you the strength. Even the best human beings will stumble from time to time, even without the Lord. So, where do you renew this strength? Where do you go? Right now, you and I have an opportunity in our day multiple times to hear about this strength. Whether it be in chapel or your religion classes, at the end of the day with prayer. But soon, as I mentioned before, comes summertime. All of those things that we start to do on a day-to-day basis start to change. For some of you, you'll be heading to new schools next year. Some of you will be heading to jobs. Maybe some of you will be having a different life change coming up here shortly. So what's your plan? How are you going to renew this strength? We go back to that verse from verse 31. But those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar on wings like eagles. They will run and not grow weary. They will walk and not be faint. So again, I ask you the question, how do you plan on adding Christ into your daily schedule as things start to change here as we approach the summer? Maybe that's a daily devotional that you start your day with. Maybe that's spending some time in God's Word in your free time. Or, as Coach Cruzy reminded us so nicely about a month ago, having some breakfast with the Lord. Faith in the Lord brings the strength we all need for our daily lives. When we rely on ourselves or we rely on human strength, we stumble. But when we trust in the Lord, as it says there, He will give us absolutely everything we need. Now, the final part of that verse talks about believers soaring on wings as eagles. And one of the things I've noticed since moving back to Minnesota is it seems like there's eagles everywhere, which is just awesome. Beautiful creatures, and just seeing them fly around. But here in this picture, you can kind of see how that eagle's wingspan is just stretching out. And one of the things that, too, as I read through this passage and reminded myself just about an eagle, that as an eagle stretches out its wings, it's riding those air currents, right? And for you and for me, what is our air current to get us through the day? That's God. God's the one who's going to be with you every step of the way. God's the one who's going to give you the comfort that you need. So when we hope in the Lord there, as that verse says, we can trust in God, knowing that He's with us every step of the way. So as you finish up here these last 3-4 weeks, as you renew and you look at, say, what's coming next, go with confidence, knowing that the Lord is with you. Go with confidence, knowing that when you do stumble and fall and things don't always go your way, that God's going to be with you every step of the way. We will sing our song. I don't remember the number, but I'll let Mrs. Tolleson play. Thank you. Any announcements for today? You guys are dismissed. Have a great day.